Alrighty, another week, another live broadcast, and another great guest coming forward in this next hour. So looking forward to this a lot. Great to see familiar names already in the chat. It's all starting to get a little bit busy, which is lovely to see. As usual, those who know the score, just drop us a comment in the chat there, just so I know that you can see the countdown and you can hear me. Otherwise, like I say every week, I'm sat here talking to myself. So just let me know in the chat there. That'd be great. Hopefully the weather isn't affecting any of the old internet signals. Right, that's great. Good to know that everything's coming through fine, so thanks for that, and great to see the numbers are starting to build up, which is lovely. Really looking forward to this one. I think by the end of it, you're going to love this guy, Ron, if you don't know him already. You're really going to love him. Great work. But as I was chatting to him yesterday, I think this is a name that you're going to hear and see a lot more over the coming years. Just wonderful talent and just a really top fella with it. Oh, and Brian, to answer your question, yes, Ron did do this picture when he's in San Francisco, but sadly I wasn't with him. Gutted. Alrighty, thank you so much for joining me yet again for another live broadcast. And like I said during the countdown, another great guest. Looking forward to talking to Ron during this next hour or so. It's going to fly by. Actually, on a completely different note, that little video I played there, that one to do with the BenQ monitor, I even reloaded that back into the system and it still doesn't play from the start. So I have no idea what's going on there. But anyway, that's to do with the BenQ displays. And the offer's always there. If you are looking for a new display, just drop me a message. I've got a way I can get you a code so you can get a discount. So just give me a shout if you want that. But I'm not going to waste too much time before I get Ron in. I've got a couple of things of admin to let you know about. A couple of changes actually coming this way. The first one to let you know is that rather than having a guest every week, what I'm now going to do is have a guest every other week. But there still will be lives going on in the interim, if that makes sense. So every other week, there'll be a live guest, and then the following week, there'll be something else. And what I've got plans for at the minute is over the last few weeks, I've been doing some work with Adobe, which has meant me editing a lot of images. Not my images, but a lot of images that have needed a lot of work doing. And it's kind of got me thinking about a project and something that I'd like to work on. So what I'm going to suggest is, and you know, this is purely down to, you know, you guys, if you want to take part, and if you think it's a good idea, what I would like to do is each week do a live edit of images so that we can go through the process. If there's any problems with certain images, to show you how I would fix them, primarily in Lightroom, but might be a few things that we have to dive over into Photoshop. So what I'll say is if you've got any images or an image that you think, actually, that would be a good one to have a look at to see what I'd do with it. I'm not looking for your best images and you giving me the unedited version. Give me something that was maybe a throwaway image. If that's the case, if you want to be part of it, create an album if you use Lightroom Desktop, or a collection if you're in Classic, and share it with me using that email address there. But when you do, just make sure that you make it so that I can not just view it, but that I can edit as well. So I think you'll see it says edit and contribute. So if you think that's a good idea, drop them over to me. I'll then get the notifications and then we'll kick that off as of next week, next Sunday. I'll start doing one. I'm going to do one of mine as well. There's something I want to show you in that. And then the guest the week after that, I'll let you know about in a short while. The other bit of admin to let you know as well is there's going to be an extra live broadcast next weekend. And it's going to be on the Saturday. That's going to be this one here, and it's mobile versus mirrorless. I think it's time that I had a really good discussion with my friend Brian Matthias, who works at Adobe. He's also a Sony guy. We're going to have a bit of a chat about how things are and how I'm feeling about the mobile photography side of things and what I'm going to be doing. There's some big changes coming. I'm also going to let you know my opinion of that OM1 Mark II that I was sent. Might be interesting. I know Steve Healy's in the chat there, so I haven't even said this to Steve yet. So that's what's going to be on Saturday. And the other thing to let you know about is just to keep your eyes open. Let me just switch over to this here. Let me change over to that on my desktop, and I'll show you my desktop just here. This image that I did today, this was just a fluke image that I managed to photograph today. I want to show how I've made the fog, because it wasn't as foggy as that. There's a few lighting effects that I've done in Lightroom only. And that's turning those lights on, the street lights on, turn those on in Lightroom. And I've added some fog in there as well. So I'm going to do a video tomorrow. I'm going to record that. It's going to pre-record. It's going to go out onto my YouTube channel. Just thought it'd be an interesting one for you to have a watch of. It's something that I've never done before. So I kind of made that up today when I was sitting there working through the edit. So that's a few things to let you know about. I'll remind you about those at the very end of this, but I don't want to delay it any further. I want to get Ron in, but I want to first of all do what I normally do, which is show you a promo reel, a promo slideshow that I've put together. Obviously, Ron, I asked him to send me over some sample of his images. He sent me quite a few, which is great. Good selection of images there from his personal projects, commissioned work, travel, you name it. There's a whole mix of stuff in there, but also some videos. I'm going to show you those in a short while. They're not in this, but I'm going to show you the promo now. Ron's not seen this. I can see him in the corner of my eye on a smaller screen over there, so I'm going to try not to read his body language as he's watching this. But let's play this now. It's about 1.5 minutes long or so, and then we'll get Ron in to explain how he has got to do what he does, working with some major brands. We're talking seriously major, well-known brands, well-known faces. Yeah, he's got it going on. He really, really has. But let me just pause this for now. And let's get Ron's promo on. So this is the promo reel for Ron Timehin. I'm trying not to laugh here when the mic was on because I saw him. I saw him in the corner there on the screen giving it like that. All right, let's unmute him. Unmute. That's working. There we go. Let's bring him in. Ron, great to see you, mate.
Oh, mate. Good to see you too. Thank you so much for that video. Honestly, nailed it. That was
You
wicked.
enjoyed it then? It's weird, isn't it, seeing your own images to music?
Yeah, it brings up a lot of emotions because it's memories, right? And it's experiences. So just seeing that to music and yeah, nailed it. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, mate. It was really, really good to see it. And I'm obviously, you know, we've known each other through the circuit for a number of years, from you doing stuff, a lot of work with Sony, presentations at some big events and stuff like that. But only recently did we get a chance to have a proper chat, you know, and of all places, yeah, San Francisco. So I'm really glad that I went. You know, I've met some great people, yourself included, but I was aware of your work anyway. But when I kind of went through your images, obviously we were chatting yesterday, when I was going through your stuff, it was really really quite hard hitting, and there was a few things that it made me think about you, which we'll discuss in a short while. But Ron, before we really get into the sort of the meat and bones of what it is that you do and how you do it, and some of the projects, which is a big part of what I want to cover with you tonight, tell us something I don't know. How on earth did you get started? Let's get warmed up first of all. Give us a bit of a potted history as to how you came to be doing what you're doing now. The commercial photographer, the video director, movie director. How on earth did that all come about?
It's yeah, it's been a crazy journey, to be honest, and it's I've sort of just followed my gut, I think, for the entirety of my career, and just followed things that I'm passionate about and I'm interested in, and so that's sort of been my guide. My initial sort of entry into, I guess, the kind of creative sphere was music. And I used to be a trumpeter, used to play a lot of jazz and a lot of classical. And I managed to complete my grade 8 when I was very young, which then allowed me to travel and tour and perform with different bands and orchestras all around the world. So I was doing that whilst I was still at school. And it was around that time I felt that I needed to document what I was seeing and where I was going. And that's where photography really kind of stepped in. And initially it was just little point and shoot cameras. And then when mobile photography started improving, I then got an iPhone, and then that became my main camera. And I remember just being fascinated with the different apps you could download and the different editing techniques you could do to your photos. And that was really sort of my gateway into photography and practicing. It was around about that time when Instagram started as well. So this was 2011, and I went to university to study the business of music. So record labels, artist management. I absolutely hated it. I'll be honest, it sucked so bad. And I just remember feeling this void of like, what am I going to do? I really love photography. I love music, but I think photography is really where my passion is lying at this point. And I began taking photos. At this point, I was in Gloucestershire. I was based in Cheltenham. So I'd go out and shoot in the countryside. And then when I come back to London, I'd shoot cityscape stuff and explore my city and climb rooftops, abandoned buildings, all sorts, just trying to really shoot as much as possible and learn the fundamentals. I'm posting that on social media, on Instagram. And one day I just remember getting this notification that said Instagram is following you, and I was like, sorry, what? Surely that's not real. Clicked on it, and it was legit Instagram, and they sent me saying that they'd made me a suggested user, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. But at the time meant that every new person who signed up to Instagram would see my account as something Instagram recommends they follow. So that was a massive kind of profile boost for me. I think I gained like 20 followers in 2 weeks. And I remember just imposter syndrome just sinking in. I remember freaking out, being like, my photos are terrible. And so it really drove me to just learn. And yeah, invested in a little DSLR. And yeah, began just shooting and shooting and shooting, meeting amazing creatives and just learning. And I remember just being out shooting maybe 5 out of 7 days a week. Just loved it. Really loved it. So that's how it got started.
Okay, so yeah, it's interesting then. I mean, Interesting there that at no point do you mention kind of like a formal education when it comes to the photography, and yet here you are working with seriously big brands. In fact, let me just, I've got my screen here. I'm going to jump over. I'm going to show people here because I meant to read this out, but let me just bring this up here because on your website, you obviously have your about, and then there's lists here. Some of the companies that you've worked with. Do you know what I mean? It's just an incredible caliber of companies that you're working with there. So here's this guy that starts off, out there. He's enjoying taking pictures on his iPhone for Instagram, and then wallop, he ends up working with these big companies here. So what fascinates me here, Ron, is that how you've gone from this person who suddenly realised how much you enjoyed the photography. I want to ask you why, what it is about it in a minute. But then all of a sudden you get into this world where you're, big time as far as I'm concerned. It's big time working with these big companies. How did that come about? Because I don't see you as any particular genre, because there's certain, you do quite a bit, and you're annoyingly good at all of them. So it's how have you marketed yourself to be able to get this kind of work? How did that all come about? I mean, have you got an agent or what?
No, I've never been represented. It's interesting you say that. I shoot a lot of different things because I do, and it's not bugged me. I've loved being able to shoot so many different things. It keeps things exciting and fresh and keeps me on my toes. But then it also makes me feel like I'm not niching down, which is advice I hear a lot, right? Find your niche, own your niche. That's good. I think it does work. But for me, I can't just stick to one thing. My mind is just all over the place, shooting different things and experimenting. And so I guess I've always just kind of followed that. And in that, it means that I say yes to a lot of things. So experiences that come up or jobs that come up, I might not be, I guess, the most technically adapted to do it, but I learn very, very quickly, and I know the fundamentals, and I understand lighting, and I understand the things that will make a good photo. And I think that's from practicing shooting lots of different things. So
I was just going to say, Ron, how I was just going to say then, how did you get to learn the fundamentals of lighting? I know you said you went out there 5 days out of 7, maybe shooting. With no formal education. I don't know, did you ever go on any kind of like workshops? Was there anybody that you followed that you kind of thought that's the kind of stuff that I want to emulate? Or was it literally just a case of doing so much? And if it is that, how did you know you were on the right track?
I didn't know I was on the right track, if I'm honest. I just really followed my heart and just shot what I was fascinated by. But I had a lot of inspirations when I was starting out. There was a guy called Joe Greer. I still follow him now. He's really good. And I see myself in him a little bit, where he shoots a lot of different things, whether that's travel, whether that's portraiture, whether that's commercial work. He's very good at each discipline. And he's killing it, absolutely killing it. So for me, it just shows that actually you can shoot what you're passionate about. And that might not just be one thing, but you can take bits and pieces from different, I guess, disciplines and apply it to other mediums. So that's sort of what I've done. In terms of training, hands-on experience, just practice, having the camera in my hand all the time. I mean, I wouldn't leave my flat or my house without my camera. It would always be with me. And one thing I found really helpful was going to photography meetup sessions and exploring my city with other photographers, because you learn a lot when you're in a room with other people, especially when they're better than you. So I would just go along, pick their brains. I think having a bit of humility as well goes a long way. It's just we hear it a lot, but the more and the longer I do this, I realize I've got so much to learn still.
But that's exciting as well, though, right?
Yeah, it's good.
It is
really
exciting. Cool. It really is. Do you know what? It's nice to hear what you say, what you do there about the humility thing, and that is something that I would definitely, if I was asked to describe you, that is one word that I would use for you. Because I was saying when we were chatting yesterday, one of the things I said to you was that there's something about you. You've got like an aura about you, but it's not a cocky, know-it-all kind of aura. Far from it. In fact, it's the complete opposite. You've just got this. I don't know. I can't even put it into words. There's just something about you. You've got a presence about you, and it's a very warm presence. And I think as well, before I forget to say this, and because I know I said this during the countdown, that there's just something about you that just tells me, I've got this feeling that you're just going to go, you're going to go big. I really do feel that you're going to go big. You know what I mean? I've got this feeling that your name is going to be known, because when I show other people, some of the stuff that you've done in a moment, I think they'll probably have the same kind of opinion. But I think it is your humility and the fact that there's no show off about you at all. Do you know what I mean? And if you're the kind of, I can take when we're in San Francisco. You just, you're a guy. I mean, you're working with some huge brands there, probably bigger brands than anybody in that room, I would suggest. But it makes no difference. You are what you are, and that's it.
That's it. I mean, there are so many people out here doing incredible work and making incredible things. So, like, I'm just one piece of the puzzle, to be honest. And I want to learn. I want to learn from other people. So if I'm trying to be the big guy and think I'm right about everything, I'm never going to learn and I'm never going to improve. And I just stay hungry, because I mean, I've got heaps and heaps of photo books all around my place, and some of the work from the great photographers who have been before me, like, I just want to be like that. I really just want to be like that. And I can't get to that place if I think I'm there already. It's just not possible.
Do you have a goal of where, do you set yourself goals, or are you just constantly pushing? Have you said, like, right, by the end of this year, I want this? Or have you got like a long-term view for where you're saying, this is where I want to be? Is that how you are? Do you work towards goals or not?
I do. I have goals in terms of like career goals. So, for example, I had a goal to shoot for Vogue, which I did. It didn't happen how I expected it to, but that was a goal I really wanted to do. And so I do try and put pieces in place to enable that. I love telling stories. I think that's one of my biggest goals now, is really just to shine a light on underrepresented groups and tell their stories and give them a voice. And so that's a sort of kind of overarching goal that I have. And whether that's in photography, filmmaking, workshops, teaching, that's sort of the end goal, really. Just leaving something behind that other people can learn from. Yeah.
It just made me remember there. Again, I mentioned San Francisco, but I remember when we were leaving and it was all over, I remember you were flying back, and it was literally, you were flying back and stepping off the plane, and you were going off to go and do a work. It's just unbelievable. You were doing a workshop the day you got back, weren't you?
Yeah,
Crazy.
That was intense. That was really intense. I was very jet lagged, and it was a 3-hour workshop, but it was amazing. Honestly, it was really, really good. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, you must have it as well. After you do a talk or a workshop, the feeling after is amazing, especially when you
buzz.
Like the results of what you've been teaching. It's really
I remember years ago when I first started doing any kind of group instruction, taking people out and showing them how to do stuff. I always remember there was one guy. He was a South African guy living in the UK, and he'd literally just got himself this camera, was just starting out, and we're walking around Windsor. And I just showed him how to do something with his camera. I think, it's something that we kind of take for granted, but then we don't know how much we actually know, do we? Do you know what I mean? We sort of take it for granted that that's easy. But some people don't know it. But I showed him this one particular thing, and he did it. And I'll never forget, he was looking through his camera at the end of the sort of lunch we had afterwards. And he just pointed, he said, I did that. And he was and I'm thinking, I feel great because I just showed him how to do it, and he's going to go home just over the moon about it. So yeah, it is. It's a drug. It's a total drug. Yeah. It really, really is. So
that's it.
Absolutely, yeah.
In terms of
oh, go on. Sorry.
Like working with brands and stuff, because I think you asked that earlier. I guess that came from networking. So I think as much as you can be good with your camera, you have to be good at networking and running a business. And I think that's something that you have to kind of learn the hard way. I've made so many mistakes along the way. But yeah, just being present, being nice. I think being kind is something people overlook. I don't know why. Just being, you want to be someone that people want with, that goes a long way. Being professional, being on time. But I think just always having the back of your mind, you never know who's watching. Honestly, I like the first, I think, big sort of commercial or commission shoot I did was for Adidas, and they had been following me for I think about a year and a half. It was somebody from the marketing team, and my name just got put forward, and I had no idea who this person was. So just always make sure that your everything outward facing is just professional, on point, and the best of your
Yeah,
ability. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. It's that's interesting now. So Adidas was your first commercial job, commercial
Yeah.
client kind of thing. And I'm just intrigued. Were they looking at your Instagram? Is that what they were looking at? And they kind of just had a feel for what you had you put anything out, do you think, that would have been suitable for them to go, whoa, hold on a second, we could do something like that? Or was it just your day-to-day stuff, you know?
See, I didn't think so at the time because the majority of the stuff that was on my socials was landscapes and cityscapes. There weren't models, there weren't any products, no sneakers at all. But what they said was that because the locations I'd been shooting in London were quite unique and were a different perspective of the city, they thought if they gave me products and a model, then I could create something really cool with that. So yeah, that was definitely a job where I said yes to it, and I had no idea what I was doing.
I was chatting to somebody, was it just a few weeks ago about this as well? When you know, where are you ever ready? Do you know what I mean? Are you ever kind of thinking, oh, now's the time? If I get asked for a big job, to do a big job commercial, I'm ready for it. I don't think that's ever the case. Is that how kind of you felt? You
No.
just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to go for it, and then let's just do my best and hope it all comes out well.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think there's a lot of learning that can be done on the job. Obviously, try and prepare as much as possible. I mean, for me, 70% of the work is done pre-shoot, and I'm meticulous with my planning now. When we get on set, everything is planned out. Things always go wrong, but you have to be able to adapt. But I think if you can set yourself up for success, then you're already a step ahead. So that's what I've just tried to do. Even when it came to like product photography, had to shoot some stuff for Asahi, the beer brand. I'd never shot any alcohol product stuff before.
Yeah.
So I remember just spending like hours on YouTube, just scaving the internet, trying to find out how to light this thing and get rid of reflections and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of information out there. You can learn anything, honestly. YouTube is
Oh yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, yeah.
Skillshare is amazing. Um, Communities, Pinterest, like Reddit, you can find anything you need really.
Hmm.
And now, see, of course. So yeah,
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, okay. So one of the things I wanted to really dive into, because that's links into a few things. I know that Norman here, Norman's in the chat there, and he's mentioned about the. I don't know why that's going so small. How weird is that? He's mentioned about. There we go. How's that? He's mentioned about the book. That's on the list here. Definitely not missing out on talking about the book. So Norman will definitely come to that. But one thing I wanted to ask you about was personal projects and projects in general, because let's just dive over to your website again, just here. So this is your website, rontimehin.com. And if we go to the photography section here, look, commissions and personal. We'll come to the commissions bit in a minute. But the personal side of things, just all your personal projects
I need
here.
to add some more.
You
Yeah,
need to, yeah, I'm sure.
I've
Yeah.
got loads
So
to add. Yeah.
the thing with the actual personal projects then, what I want to ask you about is, clearly it's important, but why is it important? What is your opinion about personal projects and what have they done for you?
Okay. So personal projects, one, good for the soul, and especially when you're a working professional, a photographer, a filmmaker, you need stuff that feeds your soul, because sometimes doing commercial work can get tedious, um, and especially when you have a creative vision and you're trying to sort of battle that with creative directors, brands, marketing teams, it can get watered down. So I think doing stuff that's purely for you and I guess for the community, that is really, really powerful for the soul. You also learn a lot about yourself as a photographer and your voice, I find, and you get the privilege to meet incredible people along the journey, and you kind of grow with that. But all of that aside, that then leads to getting commissioned work that you're passionate about, and I think that's really important because I know a lot of photographers who are doing sort of e-com studio stuff, and they're not happy with the work they're producing because it's not really that exciting or anything they genuinely care about. And for me, I think it's such a privilege to be able to take photos for a living and to make videos for a living that I don't want to end up resenting it because I'm not shooting something I'm passionate about. So I think it's about getting a balance between stuff that pays the bills, because we all need to live, but then also doing stuff that keeps you happy. And I think there's great power with personal projects and telling stories. And weirdly enough, all of my favorite images I've ever taken have been from personal projects. And my favorite commissioned work has been because of my personal work. So I know you were going to show a video I did for Dove later on.
Yeah.
And that came from personal projects, from shooting process, from documenting people of color and making documentaries around that. So yeah, putting yourself in a space where you want to be a voice for that space can lead to getting you paid for that as well. So yeah, many positives.
Interesting that you used the word voice there as well, because again, when we were chatting yesterday evening, one of the things I said to you was that having gone through your images and putting the slideshow together, it gave me more time to absorb your work and really look at the stuff that you've done when it comes to the things with Dove and the friendship video, which I'll play in a short while as well. It really made me feel that you are somebody that is not only loves photography, and you can see that the amount of work that you do, the amount of images that you do. To send over 60, 70, 80 images for you was just nothing. There you go, have them, because you've got so many images, and that's lovely to see. But one thing about you as well is that how you're using your photography, and that's why I put the title of this personal project, the power of photography. I see you as using your camera as your voice. Now, I don't know if it's a conscious decision that you make or what, or it's just a natural thing about you, but your personal projects, for me, and the kind of work that you do, does seem to have, it is kind of trying to get a message out. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of just trying to say what needs to be said by pictures. Is that something that you are intentionally doing, or is it just something that just naturally comes out because it's just the way that you are, and you've just got this great piece of tech in your hands that allows you to not verbally say it, but visually say it, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, the camera is just a tool, really, isn't it? And I think the intent with what I'm taking changes depending on what I'm shooting and where I am. Sometimes I just want to take a pretty photo of a beautiful sunset, and that's fine. That's all it needs to be. But I want to really show off how beautiful that sunset was. But then sometimes I really want to document a community or tell the story of somebody who's been roaming the Atlas Mountains for 10 years, So it really does depend. But I think as a photographer, my main intent is just to make something that's beautiful, something that is truthful, and something that will resonate with other people so that they can be inspired as well. So, yeah.
Cool. And your personal projects as well, again, if we just dive over, I had this intention of doing this. Ordinarily, I'll have just a script of stuff that I want to ask people. But with you, I just wanted to keep diving over to your website because it's just, it kind of points me to your stuff. But let me just dive over to your thing here. So we're going to go back over onto the photography and the personal stuff. So am I right in saying then, things like Cape Town and, the Sahara Desert, these kind of projects here on, are they ones that were you just happening to be on holiday, or did you purposely say, right, I'm going to pay to go there because I want to create some images to do for a personal project? How did that work? So
yeah, again, it's a mixture. So Cape Town, I was there on holiday, but I can't not take photos. I'm meant to be resting, but I just couldn't, honestly. So that one was, Cape Town is beautiful. The light there is stunning. So much to shoot. So that was a holiday that turned into, a photography holiday. The Morocco trip and the Sahara Desert was actually a commissioned job by Samsung, but I took photos outside of that job. So I was actually flown to Morocco to shoot, I think it was the Samsung Galaxy S20. and they
Right.
wanted me to photograph the Milky Way using the phone, which was pretty difficult, but I pulled it off, and it was filmed in an advert, which was then used on socials and YouTube and stuff. But over the course of this 7-day trip, we were just encountering so many incredible people, and I just needed to shoot and tell their stories. So this body of work is a result of all of the personal photos that I took on that trip.
Wow, wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
Have you got a free Samsung phone now?
Yeah. I
thought you
gave it to my
might.
brother, actually. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
Apple.
right, okay.
I'm Apple all the way. So
All right, let's
yeah,
not go there. You know what happens when we
yeah. Let's
start
not do that.
talking about. Let's not go
If
there.
anyone from Samsung's here, I'm sorry.
All right, so that's the photography side of it. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. But also, there's more to you than the photography. There is also the video, the sort of directing side of things that you do as well.
Mm.
How on earth did that come about, Ron?
So it was really weird. There was a point where I felt that photos alone couldn't tell the stories that I wanted to, and I'm really passionate about conversation, dialogue, and documentary work. So that was a goal of mine, I think, in 2021. I think 2021 or 2022, to do more video work. And again, I had no idea where to start, because photography to video is a whole different ball game. There's so many different elements you have to think about, and it's not just with photography. You can kind of get away with being a kind of solo person, right? But with video, you need to collaborate. You have to collaborate a lot of the time, especially when you start doing commissioned work. You have to work with crews. You have to work with gaffers, sound teams. Do you know what I mean? There's so much you have to think about. So again, I just kind of reached out to my network. One of my best friends is an amazing sound engineer, so he taught me a lot about sound. I've got friends who are incredible DOPs, and they sort of showed me the ropes in terms of settings and lighting and grading, all sorts, So as much as I want to kind of take all of the glory for myself, I've been very, very fortunate to have people around me who are incredible at what they do and have the generosity to share that with me. So yeah, I remember doing some short video stuff, just little social clips, just to get used to the kind of process, editing with Premiere Pro, color grading with DaVinci. I just dove into it really. And then I think I decided to do a documentary. This was during COVID. I remember George Floyd was murdered, and I went to the protests that were happening in London, and I bumped into one of my friends who's a great director and DOP called Matt Rendell. He does amazing stuff for Clarks and loads of huge brands as well. And we said, look, let's make a documentary. Let's not let this be a fleeting moment, and let's continue the conversation. And so I think we interviewed around 18 people of color who were doctors, cast from The Lion King. We had Miss Anne Harriman, who's the chairman of South Bank and an amazing photographer and activist. We had Sabrina Elba, who is a major model and wife to Idris Elba. And so we had some amazing people on this documentary, and it did really well, really, really well. We had a premiere in London, had over 300 people turn up. It was on a streaming platform. We got interviewed, TV, all sorts. It was crazy. And so off the back of that, which again, that was a personal project, I then got approached by Dove and the agency who represent them to create this video, basically, that we'll get into. But
well, that almost sounds like we planned this, the way the way that you led that in. What a great segue. Well, seeing as you mentioned it, let's play it. Let's play this thing now. So it's roughly 3 minutes long, I think it is, something like that. So I'm going to I'll play the video for everybody to see now. And then I'd like to ask you some things about it, because folks, for those of you who are watching this now, I watched this video when Ron sent it over to me a week or so ago. And I've got to say, it's powerful stuff. And this is what I mean, Ron, about what you do, be it still work or video work. It just seems that you are a square peg in a square hole. You are doing what you were meant to do. Do you know what I mean? You're using your kit as a voice. And this is a powerful video. I want to ask you more about it, but folks, I'll play it for you now. We'll use this as the ad break, so people can just relax, watch this video, and then I want to speak to you about how it all came about, the story behind it, and so on. All right. So I'll mute you, so don't worry about your sound, and I'll play this video. All right. All righty. So I'll just jump over to me. All right. There we go. So I'll just play this. Relax. This will be the ad break. It's about 3 minutes long. Just watch this. Powerful stuff.
The kids most of the time used to giggle at me and name call me and call me Pepper Grain.
The children used to say, oh, you got snakes coming out of your hair, we got worms in your hair.
I first experienced race-based hair discrimination when I was around 5 years old. I was told to shave off all of my hair because at that school, Afro hair was seen as unkempt, unruly, untidy. As my younger self, I would describe my hair in 3 words as ugly,
difficult, definitely,
and different.
Nappy, short, and tough. Wow.
Wow. I ripped out my school photo because I disliked it that much. My mum found my photo in the bin. She didn't realize the relationship I had with my hair, how detrimental it was, how unhappy I was about it.
It wasn't just about school picture day. Every day really presented challenges when it came to my hair because it was, you know, almost impossible for me to get my hair to conform to uniform policies around appearance and hair specifically.
As a mother, I did worry about my daughter's hair on school picture day. I wanted to keep their hair as natural for as long as possible.
It's not something I was looking forward to. It was, can this just happen as quick as possible?
That's powerful stuff.
No.
Really powerful
Yeah.
stuff. I'm glad it finishes on a kind of happy-ish note with the ladies
Yeah.
saying, "Oh well, look at this." Because again, watching that, then I was like, "Oh man!" Especially when that woman says, you know, the 3 words to describe her hair, and she used the word ugly. It's like, oh man.
Yeah. That was
So-
hard to watch because like I'm right there. I'm directing this thing, and it's
Yeah.
like you're seeing so much emotion from these people, and it's really difficult because you don't want to interrupt, and it's sort of like a therapy session almost. It's really, really strange, but yeah, they did really, really well in that video. That video itself won quite a few awards, which was amazing, and it also went on to change the law, which I didn't expect to happen.
Wow.
So it's now illegal to discriminate based on hair type in schools. and
My
that's just
God.
music to my ears. So it's called the Crown Act, and yeah, so that's been passed now, which is amazing. So yeah, it's nuts because I mean, someone like myself as well, I had a really tough time with my hair in school, where if I had my hair like this now, you see how it's got like a fade, I'd get put in isolation. So I wouldn't be allowed to go to lessons. I'd be put in detention after school, no break time and no lunchtime until my hair grew back, which was just
My
absurd. So like
God.
my mum would have to come into school. It was a whole thing just because there was a lack of understanding about how Afro hair grows and what it looks like and how to maintain it. So it's nice to know that something I've made has contributed to making people feel more accepted
Man,
in
that is
school. So
that is
yeah,
seriously powerful. That is
yeah,
unbelievable. Oh
yeah.
mate, hats off to you. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Thanks, mate.
What was
Yeah.
the look, I mean, this comment here from my, one of my best friends here, Ian. He's put, there's a lot of things to take from this wonderful bit of work, especially this day and age. Jesus,
Agreed.
man.
Just let people be. Like, it's not that hard. But yeah, it's honestly, it's nice to go from like shooting cityscapes and landscapes to doing work like that, and being able to kind of move between the different genres is, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. How did, with the project, with that particular one there, the Dove thing, I mean, how much input did you get? Were you given like did they approach you and say, right, Ron, this is what we want? Or was it a case of, right, Ron, we're coming to you. We love your work. First and foremost, we love your work. But you are a person of colour. How would you want this also to be put across? What would you want the content to be? How did it work, mate?
Yeah, exactly that. So I was approached by a PR agency called The Romans. I do a lot of work with them, and they said, look, our client Dove wants to do a piece based on race-based hair discrimination, and thought I'd be a good fit because they'd seen my work. So that's how the conversation started. And I was over the moon because Dove make incredible videos. And so I just felt honored that they'd seen my stuff. And then again, imposter syndrome sunk in. And I was like, God, how am I going to pull this one off?
What you like?
Yeah. And again, I brought in the best team I could think of. And the pre-production process, I think, was around 2 months. And that was sort of storyboarding, finding the talent, getting a school, making sure that everything was ready to go. And that was really scary. I remember being on shoot day just like, oh my God, this is happening. And after that, I think it was 6 months of post-production. It was 6 months of editing, because I had to really have an input about how the flow of the video would go, what things needed to be removed, what things needed to be kept in. So it was quite a task, but it was an amazing process. And I think just to see where it's gone after that has been amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm just as we're talking here, I'm kind of keeping my eye on. I can see comments coming in here. I mean, obviously you saw the one from my friend from Ian, but Lee Churchill, that's fantastic. This contribution is fantastic. It goes on and on here. And Linda's just put one here. Let's have a look here. What she's put here. Absolutely powerful. So glad he filmed this. People forget the song written years ago. We Are the World. Need to listen to that again. That's what it's about. Thank you. Bless you. It's powerful stuff. And this is what I mean about you. Yeah, it's a commission that you had, but God, were you the right fit for that? You really were the right fit for that. It is a wonderful piece of work. But just, from somebody, from me, who obviously hadn't experienced that, something that we took for granted as kids as having, oh no, the yearly school photo. It was never something that we kind of dreaded. It was because, oh, don't want to have it. It was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not thinking, years later now, thinking that for other people, it was something they absolutely dreaded. It's just,
yeah.
We really
It's
don't
nuts,
know what's
like,
going on, do we? We really don't.
No. I mean, some of those women as well have had like long-term damage to their hair, because they would have to straighten their hair and add chemicals and stuff for it to conform for those school photos, and it's left long-term damage. I think one of the ladies had never had a school photo. Like, she'd been sent home every single time because her hair was messy. So it's pretty nuts to think that this stuff happens. But yeah, I think one step at a time. We're definitely getting better, which is good. So I'm feeling positive, and yeah, it's nice.
I bet you felt fantastic though when you were given the reactions. You can't beat that, can you? Money can't buy that reaction when somebody takes that picture out and they just can't control that smile. How cool is that?
Yeah,
that's just cool. Wonderful. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. All right, well that's wonderful. Let's move on from that one. I'm thank you for sharing that. But the other video I want to show is to do with friendship.
Oh yeah.
Before I play it, tell us what it was about and what your involvement was and so on.
Okay. So this one was a video for Disney, and it was for a subsidiary of them, their charity arm called Cinema. And what they do is they look at film, cinema, and use it as a way to kind of help children who are either terminally ill or very, very sick kind of get through that pain and make them feel at ease. So I think the whole premise essentially was to interview a host of celebrities and talk about their friendships and how that helps them get through the day and keep them sane and healthy, really. So that was a premise. And I think that was then shown in hospitals around the country to children. And I think they were using some of the kind of key Disney characters like Mickey and Daffy Duck and all those people to sort of help lift the story. So yeah, again, it was interview led.
They're not real, Ron. They're not real.
I know, yeah, true. I wish they were. But yeah.
All right, listen, let's play it. And I defy anybody not to smile at the end. All right, let's play that now.
Hi, I'm Miss Anne Harriman. I'm here today shooting Mickey and Friends, The Power of Friendship.
The power of friendship. What does it mean to us, Yazzie?
Powerful.
Powerful, yeah.
I mean, what's life without friendship?
Disney, I think, and Mickey and Friends, I kind of grew up watching the whole folks, and I know they're all different animals and that all these different animals are friends, but I think that kind of relates to real life, that we can come from different backgrounds, but together your friendship is the same.
We genuinely always cheer each other on. Don't let me cry.
I know, I'm on the edge. I can feel it building in my eyeballs. The tears.
Some of these men, women, and children have challenges that are very, very hard to overcome, but they are doing it. With the help of the work of Cinema and Mickey and Friends, life is a little easier for the challenges that they have.
You know, without Nikita, I would be lost at sea.
I think you need to have that stability and people around you that know you for you.
And also just someone you can have fun with, like someone who knows what's going to make you laugh and have a good time and stuff like that.
We're not just friends, we're family. And I'm very lucky because I get to work with my brother.
Yeah.
Love it.
There's nothing for me to say. Wicked.
I love that. that bloke's laugh is brilliant. Cool, great project, and just something really nice to again for you to be involved in there. So brilliant. Listen, I wanted to, before we bring up what Norman wants me to bring up, which I was going to bring up anyway, which is the book. Let's dive over to your website again. Let's just do that. There we go. Because I want to just kind of show. I really do want to encourage people to dive over to this. And obviously what I'll do tomorrow is I'll put all the description stuff in the YouTube video description, and I'll put all the links and everything on the blog post as well. But just you can get to see some of the commercial big name clients that Ron's worked with. Do you know what? I was going to show my wife your website, but I don't know if I will now, because she's really into this guy. Really into James Norton, really into him.
He's lovely, really nice guy.
Is he really? Well, I'll let her know. Yeah. That's good to know. But do you know what? One thing I was really jealous of, if we move down here, there's a couple of things that really surprised me. So, Deontay Wilder.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to ask you. I've got to ask you, what was he like?
You
can only say nice
how
things,
you'd
I know.
Expect. Yeah, how you'd expect. He's very macho, like, but he had a presence, a real presence. It was amazing to see him in that scene, because that was in Brixton, in a boxing gym in Brixton. So just seeing lots of little kids kind of running up to him and taking photos, and him giving inspiring talks. It was amazing. It was good. And I think he has this catchphrase is like till this day. I think he says a lot. So he was like screaming like till this day and into cameras and stuff. And yeah, but he really brought the energy. So yeah,
superb.
It was nice to meet him. It was nice to meet him.
Yeah, cool. And the other one I was surprised. I mean, in fact, there's a couple here that I was really surprised. I don't know why I'm saying surprised, but it just shows the kind of, you know, here's you saying, oh, I feel like I should be more niche and have like, you know, no, do not. Because I mean, look at you're getting the variety of work. You know, one day you're photographing Deontay Wilder, then you've got this Switzerland tourism. I mean, beautiful stuff, Switzerland tourism. But then I love the Nissan Juke, and I was going to say to you, where is that? And that's actually not far. It's from where we are. It's the Cheddar Gorge, isn't it? Am I right? Cheddar Gorge.
That's the one.
What a great location! But I mean, you're getting to work with such a variety of work, Ron. You don't change. Don't start being niche. Really don't. These are fantastic opportunities that you're getting here. They really are.
Thank you. Yeah,
very, very.
I feel very, very blessed. Very blessed to be able to work with so many different brands, and at the end of the day, they're people. Really, I think I've been shooting for over a decade now, and you get to realize they're people, and it's relationship building, and you collaborate essentially. So I think instead of it being like, I need to shoot for Nike, I need to shoot this big commercial billboard campaign. Learn how you can, I guess, facilitate and help the brand, and also combine that with your own vision. I think there's a nice sort of synergy that happens when you feel creatively fulfilled and the brand feels like they're getting what they need as well. So I think that's always the goal for me. No matter what projects I'm doing, I want everyone to feel happy walking away from it. Yeah.
Cool stuff. The old Lee Churchill here has put, let's just bring these couple of comments up here. Lee Churchill has put, Reggie Yates' laugh is amazing. And Ian, Ian Monroe again has put, Ian's put, amazing comes as standard here. There you go.
Oh, thanks, guys. Reggie's cool. For me, that was like, because I'd seen him on Blue Peter. Is Blue Peter still a thing? I don't even know if it is.
Hey, don't ask me. You've let the cat out of the bag there. You still watch Blue Peter? What's going on there?
I used to love it.
I've no
Reggie
idea.
For me was like, he was like the cool older brother, if that makes sense. Like, I always wanted to meet him, and I've met him a few times now, and he's really, really nice. Yeah.
And it's nice when people that you want to meet and you think, you've always looked up to, when they do fulfill what you hope they would. Because I always say, never meet your heroes. Nah, that's not the case. That's not the case. I've always had a good thing with that. I've always had a good impression. In fact, the only person I met once that was a little bit, because I would always wanted to meet him, but he was a little bit off, and it was Mike Tyson. But I think I think he'd kind of I think he wasn't going through a good time, and he just he got out of his car and was going to say hello to everybody, but he kind of walked past. He looked upset, and he really walked quickly into this door that was locked, and it was like, ooh. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then other people, like I've been, fortunate to have met people like Arnold Schwarzenegger who definitely lived up to it. Even people like, do you remember Uri Geller?
Yeah. Yeah,
the guy he'd make your watch stop and he'd bend your spoons and all that kind of stuff. I remember seeing him once, and I was chatting to a friend, and I said to my, that's Uri Geller over there. And he clocked that I'd clocked him. And he came over and he started speaking to us, and he was sort of chatting away. And before he left, I said to him, is my watch going to still be working when you leave? And he's like, And he was just a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy. Anyway, it's not about me, it's about you. Right, let's, this is what I want to talk about now. Let's bring up what Norman was talking about. And that is this book, this wonderful big. So there we go. So London Fog. And again, what I'll do is I'm just going to bring up your website again, because over here, in fact, no, I'll go to the About section because it mentions about your book just at the bottom here. Where is it? Oh, here you go. So I'm going to read this out so everybody can hear it. Ron is incredibly proud to have published his first solo photography book entitled London Fog. This body of work is very dear to his heart, and he is thrilled to have it available not only in renowned bookstores like Waterstones, but also online through Amazon. The fact that London Fog was recognised as one of the Times' photography books of the year in 2019 is truly an honour and a testament to his dedication to his work. I mean, wow. I mean,
Nice.
yeah, before we close, you're going to have to give me 6 numbers between 1 and 49 before we finish this, because everything you seem to touch seems to do really well. Tell us about London Fog then. How did that all come about?
So London Fog I started it in 2015, a personal project. This was actually the first photo I took, the first time I ever shot fog. And I remember I was on the way to my first job at Apple, because I was working in Regent Street on just the shop floor doing sales. And I remember being on the way to my first day and it was foggy. And I was like, I'm getting off this train. And I got off the train. I thought I'd shoot for like 15 minutes and still make it in on time. I ended up spending like an hour and a half just photographing the fog. I completely lost track of time and I was late on my first day. It was not a good look. But made me realize I love the fog. And do you know what? I think it comes from the music side. And it's because when I was playing trumpet, I played a lot of jazz and blues. And for me, that it's beautiful, but it's also sad. And I find that's similar to fog and rain. It's like beautifully sad, if that makes sense. So I've tried to convey that sort of sound within this imagery and this body of work. So yeah, for me, this is jazz and blues when I'm looking at this stuff. So yeah, 2015 was when it started. It's notoriously hard to predict and to photograph well. I think there were a lot of times where I'd wake up at like 4 a.m. in the morning, go to Tower Bridge to get there and just find out there's no fog and the fog has moved on. It's very temperamental. So it's been a lot of dedication and hard work to get these shots for sure. And it might only ever be really foggy once or twice a year max. So you really have to be ready. But yeah, it's really cool. It's nice. Like now when I go out and take photos of the fog, I see other photographers there shooting it, sharing it on socials, and it's really nice to see that I've had at least a little bit of an impact on that.
How did the book come about then?
Yeah. So I was approached by a book publisher based in Chicago. They're called Trope, and they're the ones who also made the London book. So the London book was the first one. And this is essentially, it was a collective of photographers who made the London book. And myself, Lucy, and then 𝐓𝐡𝐞, we were the first 3 people that had our solo book published by this company. And so that process was a long process. It was about, I want to say, a year and a half of negotiations, piecing things together, working out what the theme was going to be. For me, it was a no-brainer. Like London Fog was it was something I'd always wanted to kind of publish in a physical form. And I had a lot of photos of the London Fog because I've been shooting it for years. So I think this is 2019 and yeah, it happened. It was really bizarre, like holding a physical book of your work. I want to make another one. And it's interesting because I look at my book now and there's so much I want to change. I would do it so much better if I could do it now. So I think that's the goal again, like just build up a body of work so I can publish it, so I can have it as prints. I think it's really important not just have the digital files and share it online, but physically print it. It has a whole different power and meaning when you do it. So yeah, the book's cool. The Times photography of the book nomination caught me off guard, to be honest. It was amazing. I got to go on ITV and speak about the book. That was, a great insight to see how TV works. And just walking into Waterstones and seeing it there is just bizarre. If I'm honest.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Have you signed any in Waterstones?
I have.
Good man.
Yeah. So I signed some in Waterstones. We also had an exhibition of our work, and the books were sold at the exhibition. So I signed a bunch there. Realized my signature is really bad and I can't really replicate it. So I had to make up a new signature just so I could replicate it. It was really weird. Yeah, it's nice.
Cool. Excellent stuff. Well, I'll definitely put a link to that in the blog post as well. But I can see here, look, Norman says, I look forward to reading it. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
cool
you.
stuff. So, I mean, you mentioned there then, just obviously kind of leading in from the books, and I'm conscious of time here as well. Are you somebody who is into printing? Do you print a lot of your own images? Is that something that you would recommend that people do?
I would definitely recommend printing your images. I don't print them myself as such. That's something I'd definitely love to learn how to do. But no, I've got printers in Shoreditch who do my prints for me. They're called Print Space. Really, really top tier. If anyone from London's here, highly recommend them. You can literally just submit your photo through their website and you can get it the same day. Like, it's really, really quick. And they use those photos, those printers for like the Sony World Photography Awards, really, really high quality stuff. So yeah, it's nice to print your work. I'd say also, if you are going to make prints, think about them properly before you do it. So make sure that you're thinking about how many you want to make. If you want them to be limited edition, if you want them to be sort of rolling, so you can order as many as you want. All of that stuff really important. It really, really matters. Think about framing, paper. There's lots that go into it, but it's really nice. Like, when you first see it, it's just like, wow, like, it is cool.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. All right. Well, listen, I'm really conscious of time here, Ron, because I want to kind of like make sure that we get you back on in a few months. But there's loads of comments here. Look here. So I mean, Deborah, lovely comment from Deborah. It's an honour just to be in Ron's video presence. He's such a blessing to the world around him.
That's very, very kind. Thank you.
It's unbelievable. Right. Listen, I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball at you now. So I'll see if there are questions, but I think it's more a case of people just commenting, saying about how lovely your work is. You know what I mean? I'll come to see if there are any particular questions, but things I wanted to just throw a curveball in. I should have told you about these beforehand, but hey, you can deal with it. Okay, so what would you say in the time that you've been? Let's concentrate on the photography side of things now, unless you think the video also contributes to this. But what would you say has been the biggest or most important lesson that you have learned so far in your career as a photographer?
One, back up your stuff and don't take it for granted. Honestly, oh my goodness, I think I lost 30,000 images from hard drive failure, and that's some of my earliest work. So make sure you're backing up and don't take it for granted. So that's definitely one. And I think two, just travel more. Just travel as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because you get to see so much of the world and you learn so much and you meet so many incredible people through it. And that informs how you see the world and then in turn how you photograph it. So yeah, travel as much as possible.
I like that. I was only looking for one, but I'm game on for two. So I like the travel one. I like that one a lot. All right. So the other one then is, there's more coming to my head as I'm thinking about it now, but I've got these ones written down. If you were speaking to somebody now who wanted to do what you do, what would be, these are very cliche questions, I know that. What would be your 3 top tips for somebody who wants to do what you do?
Okay, 3. Practice as much as you can. As in, even if you're at home, just have a camera in your hand and take photos of a glass. Just anything. Just make sure that you're constantly thinking about it. 2, I'd say don't equate your value to social media status. That's one that can be very detrimental. And I've seen it eat up a lot of people. Just because you don't have 10,000 followers, 50,000, 100,000, whatever, doesn't mean that you're not good. And it doesn't mean that your photos suck. So just be very careful about social media. You can use it, it's a powerful tool, but don't let it eat you up. And I think in the 3rd point, don't chase trends. Of course, you want to grow your audience, and trends are a way of doing that, but it really doesn't benefit you long term. I think the value you have is finding your own voice, finding what you're passionate about, shooting that, making that, and then you'll get work that you'll be proud of.
Love it. Brilliant. 3 very, very good ones there. I like that. Okay, right. Let's just quickly look at these ones here then. I normally bring up this graphic here, so I'm going to do it anyway. There we go. Right. Don't know why, but I just like pressing that.
I like it.
Right, so my friend Jay Grammond, he has put, what is your next personal project?
Oh, okay. I've got two. One is the heart of London. So I photographed cityscapes of London for years. Now it's time to get into the people and the heart of London. So I'm photographing businesses that have contributed to the city for years. So I've shot the oldest pie and mash shop in London. Amazing people there. The oldest fish and chip shop, oldest pubs.
Who's this guy here on? I'm putting in there. Let's see if I can find it again now. But was it this guy? Can I find it? Can I find it? No. Oh, no. I can't find it. It's on here somewhere. The guy, the white hair with the glasses.
That's him, yeah.
I'll find it.
That's George from Manze's in Deptford. So yeah, that's something I'm doing. That's going to be a consistent project, and then hopefully that will make my next book. So that's one. And then I've got another personal project which is like very, very, very personal to me. And essentially it's about being gay, black, and British, and that intersecting point, because it's really complicated. And like, so I'm 31 years old now. I only came out to my mum and dad last year at 30 years old, and I've got a partner. We've lived together for 6 years. You know, I've had to hide it for my entire life because it's not really accepted in African culture. Half of my family are also Irish and Irish Catholic, so again, it's a no-go there, and it's been really, really difficult. And I know a lot of people who are going through very similar things. So my next project is going to be a photography project and a video project that's sort of diving into what that looks like, how the difficulties, the triumphs. And I think a lot of the stuff I've seen in art galleries and exhibitions around LGBTQ in general is very heavily sexualized. And I get it, like it's sexuality we're talking about, but there's more to it, in my opinion. Like there's family, there's faith, there's friendship, there's masculinity. There are all these different pillars that you can go a lot deeper into. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for those then. I found
Thanks.
him.
That's the one. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. I knew it
George.
was somewhere.
Yeah,
Cool
some more of
stuff.
that
Well,
stuff.
I get my last question then, and again, thank you for being so open and honest. I knew you would be. I knew you would be. One question I've got to ask. Again, it's a cliche question. Of all the people that you've met that have got, I don't like the word celebrity, but they've got they're well-known faces. Do you know what I mean? Who is on the bucket list? Yeah, you knew it was coming then. You knew it was coming. Who is it that you'd think, oh, I'd love to photograph them?
Oh my goodness. There's one lady in particular. Her name is Michaela Cole. I'm not sure if she's an actor, but she also writes. So she made a series on TV called Chewing Gum, and there's another one called I May Destroy You. If you haven't watched those, I'd highly recommend it. I think they're two of the best British series ever made. But she is an absolute powerhouse. So she writes, she directs, she produces, she does everything. Like if you type in her name, you'll recognize her for sure.
And what was her name again? Then
Michaela, and then Cole, like Cole. Yeah, she's fantastic. But if I May Destroy You. If there's one thing you can watch this year, 100% watch that. Amazing series.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
I like a
very,
good
very powerful.
recommendation. Excellent stuff. All right, lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Ron. An hour and a quarter. Told you to go quick. But I have so enjoyed this. I really, really have.
Thank you.
So, and you can tell chat room has been busy. So wonderful. You know, I knew this would be good. But wow, just solid advice, mate. Solid advice. And like I said, I think yours is a name that we're going to get to see a lot more, and in some rather big places. I've just got a feeling about it. I really have got a feeling. So
that means a lot. Thank you.
Fair play, and I'm really glad that we got to hang out in San Fran.
Yeah, that was a great trip actually. I enjoyed that. Yeah. I came back feeling really inspired. It was good to spend time with you, and thank you for everything you do, mate. This is honestly it's amazing. And this contributes to people learn and, you know, do what they want to do as well for a living. So yeah, big ups to you as well.
Good stuff. No, you too, mate. Back at you. All right, well, brilliant. Listen, don't disappear. Go back into the virtual green room, but from me, I'll say it again at the end, from me and clearly from everybody in there. I mean, there's some lovely comments. Ronnie, I could be here all night just pressing this in. I like Jean-Francois has put, what a sweet guy. Really enjoyed this chat. Norman, what a lovely breakthrough achievement for a natural talent. Thanks, guys. It goes on and on and on. And the great thing is I won't edit any of this video, so that live chat stays with the recording. So, you know, it'll always be there. So, and my friend Ian, there you go. Thanks both. Brilliant stuff. Loved it.
Thank you.
You are an absolute diamond, mate. You really are. You're a diamond, and you are I just think it's wonderful that you're in the industry. You know what I mean? I genuinely do. I don't know how else to say it. You know, I mean, you are what you're you're using your camera for real good. I got a very small taste of it when I did my veterans project, which you know about, which I talked about a little bit, mentioned before. I got a small taste of doing good with my camera. You know what I mean? That's it. And it's just the most incredible feeling. What you're doing is on a different scale, but it's just, it's wonderful. It's really, really good. I love how humble you are. Your work speaks for itself. Fair play to you. So I'll catch you in the green room, mate.
Thanks, Glenn.
All right. No worries. Well, if you didn't know him and you didn't love him beforehand, I'm guessing you do now. Do you know what I mean? What a super guy, and what just an amazing talent. But those videos, really powerful. That Dove one in particular really got me. I'm going to show my wife. She hasn't seen it yet, but I'm going to play that for her because I know she'll want to see that. But don't forget, I will do the. I'll put all the links to Ron's stuff. I'll put that in the description part of the video tomorrow morning, once YouTube has done its little bit of processing. There'll be a blog post as well with the links, standalone video of his slideshow as well, which I'm going to play before we go out. But yeah, massive thanks to Ron. What a lovely fella. Right, just to wrap up then, before I play Ron's promo slideshow again, I've played that so much. Just to remind you about the things that are coming up. Next Saturday, there's going to be an extra live next Saturday, and it's mobile versus mirrorless. It's not a case of what's better. It's more a case of how am I kind of feeling about things at the moment? Because I've been doing a lot of stuff with my mobile when it comes to the seascape. I've had cameras sent to me because I felt like I should be doing those images on a proper camera. What am I talking about? On a mirrorless camera or a Micro Four Thirds or whatever. So I'm in a little bit of a quandary. My friend Brian Matish is going to be joining me. We've got a few things we want to talk about. Might get a little bit tense on a few things we want to talk about, but I hope you can tune in for that. I will have the pre-recorded video coming out probably tomorrow evening, maybe Tuesday. That one to do with the lighting effects in Lightroom. Those of you who want to learn about that. And then also, don't forget, next week, because there's a bit of a change now, we're going to start doing every other week will be a live retouching, showing how you can fix some images and stuff like that. So if you want to be part of it, share an album if you're on Lightroom Desktop, or share a collection with me using that email address there, just making sure that you set it to be edit and contribute, okay, so that I can actually use them as opposed to just look at them. And we'll crack on with those next week. And then I'll let you know more about it next weekend. But the following week, real good guest. We've got a guy called Gregory Benz, who is the HDR guy. He's the guy, he was with me and Ron when we were in San Francisco. He is the guy that Adobe go to when they're talking about HDR. It's a whole different ball game to what we remember years ago when it was that over-processed kind of stuff. Now it's how to make images look just natural. Everything look correct. There's an art to it. Greg's going to talk about it. So that's coming up in 2 weeks as well. But I will be back next week. So I'm going to play out now with Ron's promo slideshow. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for making the chat room what it is. Some wonderful comments coming in, unsurprisingly. Really appreciate you turning in every week as you do. But I'll see you same time, same place next week, but also on Saturday. All right? I'll send out the emails. Join the email group, the link's in the chat, and you'll know what's coming up. But let me play out now with Ron's promo slideshow. And by the way, if you want to follow Ron on Instagram, there's his handle. Nice and simple. There we go. Right, folks, have a great week. I'll see you when I see you, if not before, on social media.
you.